Hello, Lemonheads, and welcome to today's show on Lemonade Legend Podcast, where we share people's lemons to lemonade stories. I am so excited to have a very special guest. And well, all my guests are special, but I get particularly excited about this one because I absolutely love the product this lady produces. I'm sure she produces more than just one, but I'm going to tell you about the one. Anyway, so first of all, let me welcome Joani DiCampli. Thank you for joining us today. Welcome.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor and I'm very excited.
Oh, great. So I met, well, actually, I've never really personally met Joani yet, but we will one of these days. But
Of course.
we met through a phone call and we chatted a bit and hit it off. And I discovered the most amazing thing. I'm going to show it. This is Boobalicious natural breath deodorant. And naturally, what flavor? Lickable lemon.
Appropriate for you.
I love this. I love this. It yeah. So for any of the guys that might be watching this, you don't get it. Most of the women, you get it. Right?
Of course.
So having introduced you with that, Joani, why don't you just share, just a little quick background and then we'll dig a little bit deeper.
Okay, quick background. I worked in corporate. I was laid off and I live in a small beach town, so there's a lot of retail. So I went and worked in a boutique and it was a hot summer night. And literally I had that awful boob sweat and I turned to my coworker. I said, oh my gosh, I'm mortified in this moment. There should be an all natural breast deodorant. I'm going to make it and I'm going to call it Boobalicious. And I actually did it. Within 30 seconds, I had an idea and I went with that idea.
So, but I'm going to interject this because I know a little bit of your backstory. So you thought of the idea immediately, but didn't it take you a little while to implement in that? I believe you said something to the effect that my husband finally said, just do it already.
Exactly. well, yeah. In hindsight, I was being an entrepreneur, all the right things. I didn't even know it. I started marketing everyone that came in, all the women. Would you wear all natural breast deodorant for boob sweat? And I must have interviewed 100 and 98% said yes. And then I talked about it for at least 6 months. And that's when my husband finally shook me, like literally grabbed me by the shoulders and said, Joani, stop talking about it and just do it. I literally ran upstairs, started looking at recipes for deodorant, and I did it. I did it. My stepmom sent me a check for $75 and said, if you don't try, you'll never know. So everything just came together.
Yeah. Well, and congratulations on that. I think that's
Thank
great.
you.
I love hearing entrepreneurial stories. But one of the things that I say, and I got this from my coach, she always says, done is better than perfect. And as important as research is and knowing what you're getting into as an entrepreneur, sometimes you do just have to do it and just get it done. And it sounds to me like perhaps you had done enough research at that point. It was time to just get it done.
It was time. And it's funny you said that because I remember I was on travel for work at the time. And I was sitting in a restaurant and I was talking to a gentleman who distribute products. And we got talking about Boobalicious. And he said to me, stop waiting for it to be perfect. Just put it out there like you have it. And the rest will follow. And I listened to his advice and he was right. I didn't wait till my labels were perfect. It wasn't retail. It didn't look like a retail product. I did everything on my own. So, and everything just followed from there. But it doesn't have to be perfect. You just do it.
So let's peel back a few layers here and get down to some of the lemons in your life, because it's never as simple as it sounds. I've talked to enough entrepreneurs out there that I've figured out that even when people try to pretend like it's that easy, it never is. right?
It's not. It's not. It's a struggle. It really is.
What were some of the lemons that you came across that you struggled with to reach your success?
I came across a lot of lemons, and the lemons get thrown at you, but you just you do make the lemonade once the lemons are thrown at you. For instance, I didn't know how to make labels. I didn't know anything about business, and I didn't know anyone to teach me about the business. So like Google literally was my best friend. I Googled everything. And when it came to making my labels, it even a simple task took me 2 weeks to create a simple label. And I was getting frustrated. And, I did YouTube to learn how to do those labels. And I had to take a break. I mean, I was in tears, like, how can I not do this? And then I went back to my computer and a miracle happened. I did the labels. And then I realized in that moment, you can do anything you put your mind to. You don't need anyone's help. Google, YouTube, there's so many resources out there that we don't know about that can help guide you along your entrepreneurial journey. And how important it is to invest in yourself, which I did not know. I mean, we crossed paths because now I know about the entrepreneur journey, how you meet wonderful people like you, and you get these coaches and mentors, and they guide you through your journey. And it's not easy. There's always a pushback, and it's a hard journey, but you get through it because the reward is the best part, and it's so worth it.
Yeah. How long would you estimate it took you from the time you came up with the idea to actually to where you are now?
Well, it's been 7 years, but I started getting recognized. Someone told me about Etsy, and they said, put your product on Etsy. So I did. And within, I think it was like 2 days, a day or 2 days, I had a sale. And I didn't know a lot about Etsy, but someone said, how are you doing? And I said, oh my gosh, I'm getting a couple sales, but I don't know how great that is. And she said, you just literally got on Etsy and you're making sales already. That's amazing. So I started getting recognized by Etsy. Allure Beauty recognized my product. I was online on Allure Beauty. I was doing blogs. I went international in 2014 in the UK, the Daily News. So I was getting all this recognition. But the reason my journey it was a little bit slower was because I have 3 children. One has mental illness, one has mental illness and addiction, one's an alcoholic. So my journey kind of stopped in the middle of my success because everything I made on Etsy, I was basically not thinking of the success. I was thinking sell the product so I have the finances to help my children. And Etsy, everything I made off Etsy paid for my children's recovery. And that's, as you well know, mental health and addiction is so important to me. And I want to pay it forward to families that are also going through that. So Boobalicious I realized was a purpose more than a why. It was a purpose to help other families, relieve the stress, the financial stress, and just have someone to talk to that went through it. So Boobalicious paid for my children's recovery. And 2 years ago, I really started to get serious. So the brand is starting to get recognized and it's just getting out there.
I think and thank you for sharing that, because that's getting into your personal, but I'm all about getting people to like open up and share their personal story. But I love the connection, because this is primarily a women's product. And as women, we're the nurturers. We're the ones who worry about our kids the most and want to fix and take care of and do whatever we can. So I think it's a great alignment with your cause and what you support. And I do want to dive into that and who you are partnered up with. But let's take a moment, because again, let's talk about the lemon to lemonade story. So it's not just about your entrepreneurial journey, but it's dealing with your kids' mental health, addictions, and whatnot. So just share, if you would, not so much the darkness of the story, but the inspiration and the light of how you work through, because that's a real challenge as a mom.
It is a challenge. And, I always take things as they come and I kind of make humor out of it. Because if you can't laugh, it's not going to get you through the day. And I always found it's not a funny subject, but, my kids and I used to joke around. One had detention, one had probation. I would cheer them at the dinner table. Hey, I'm a proud mom today. Just little things like that. Now they knew I wasn't serious, but, my kids trusted me and they knew I would get them through anything if they were doing the right thing. But the challenges, like I said, I just had a sense of humor, and my children inspired me to be a strong person because they needed me. And for me to be there for them, I had to be that strong person. And I never gave up. And because of my journey through this whole entrepreneurship, my children they're the reason I'm doing this. And they gave me the courage. They give me the strength, and I owe it all to them because they are my life.
That's, that's such a sweet story. I love that because I have addiction all over my family. I mean, my daughter, my nephew, my father. I could go on and on. So I
Mm-hmm.
get it. I get it. So the two things, we can address it separately, but two things that sprang to my mind immediately was the willingness of your two children to allow you to come into that personal space of them, because so often you get the pushback from the addict, like, I'm fine, I don't need any help, or, and then the other thing is finding a program that actually worked, because it's hard. It's really hard to kick that.
It's so hard. And I think, I was a single mom for 10 years. So it was just the three of us before I got married again. I've been married 21 years. But I think the bond of being a single mom, I always made sure we ate dinner together and we talked at the dinner table. And the bond was really strong with us. And it's, and every family's different and the dynamics. And I was just blessed enough that my children pulled through everything and that I could help them and that they believed in themselves, that they could do it. So there's so many dynamics involved of getting your children to that spot. At the end of the day, it's their courage that gets them through it. But I just give that love and that patience and that support and know that I'm always there, good or bad.
So you did find a place, I believe it's in Florida, if I remember correctly.
I did.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that and why you think that organization was successful with your kids.
Well, it's called Miracles Do Happen, and it's a women's recovery center run by Millie, Tennessee. And Millie has helped so many women. And we're best friends now. But I sent my daughter there, and Millie, I cannot do tough love. Millie was my tough love for my daughter. So the combination of me and Millie, it really worked really well because Millie does not enable like me. Millie does not put up with anything, and Millie is the tough love. So I think that combination works really well. And it's just the dynamics of her sober living and the strict guidelines and the rules and the structure. And it just worked really well. And that's where Millie and we've been talking, and I'm giving her my own money, and I like to pay for 1 month's sober living for a family's daughter, aunt, mother that can't afford it. And then I can pay for 1 month's rent to get them started. And I was going to do 3 months. And Millie said, no, you do 1 month because the person needs to be held accountable. And she helps them get jobs. She helped my daughter get a job. And my daughter paid her own rent and she became responsible. And today my daughter's 5 years sober and she's thriving. She learned how to control her mental illness, and she's been 5 years sober. So I'm just blessed that it all worked out and grateful.
Yeah, of course. Yes. I mean, our kids are it. I mean, they just are the number one thing, in our lives. What kind of follow-up? Because my experience with any kind of addiction, alcohol, drugs, whatever it might be, there tend to be a need for that follow-up, for that continuing help, I guess. Maybe not help, but just reinforcement would probably be a better word.
Yes. And, it's a 12-step program that they go to. Even for the person like myself goes to a 12-step program. So we know how to deal with it better. And a lot of, and myself included, we don't give it a chance. You have to go for at least a month or two to give it a chance. Just like with, the person in their addiction has to give it a chance. And the follow-up, again, everyone is so different. It's the person that wants to be sober and they know that follow-up. I know my daughter I think she goes to meetings at least 5-6 times a week. She does not miss one. It like gets her through the morning. She goes early in the morning before she gets her day started. So she does it. And then my son might go once a month or every other week. It all depends on the individual of the follow-up.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It could be all processed things differently. But I know everyone that I know that is successful in their recovery process has some form of follow-up and reinforcement, whether it's once a month or once a day. So good for you kids. That's great. I'm
Yes.
so happy for them. My daughter, gosh, it's been so long now, I almost forget that she had problems. But I'm doing the math in my head. What, more than 10 years ago, 12 years ago, and I'm so proud of her. And there's no shame in that. There is absolutely no shame in talking about, yeah, my daughter had, a drug addiction, because she's like 12 years straight and she's amazing.
Exactly.
I'm so proud of her.
Exactly. And there was no shame. And I know some parents, they get embarrassed and that's okay. But there was no shame for me because I believe it's a disease and it's something that they don't want. They don't want to be like that. And
No.
And I was even in their addiction, I was proud of them and told them every day how proud I was of them because they were still that good person that had a problem. So I always praised them. Even in bad times, I praised them. Yep. Because that's what they needed to hear. And it was true. I'm so proud of them and of their courage. And they inspire me every day.
How old are your kids now?
31, 29, and then I have my 16-year-old who's a teenager.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, you still have a teenager at home.
Oh yeah. So far, so good.
So good. Wasn't too partial to him during the teenage years. But mine are 34 and coming up on 30 very soon. So,
but no matter how old they are, they're still my kids. I can't see them as adults, and I think any mother feels the same way. They're always your babies. Yeah. They're always your kids.
Oh yeah, I get the phone call when they're having the anxiety attack or something's gone wrong. The boyfriend broke up with them. Yeah. So, yeah, you never outgrow that ever.
Absolutely, mom's always there.
Yeah, we try to be. We do try to be.
Absolutely.
How are you partnering up with with the Miracles Do Happen? Is that the name?
Well, what I'm doing right now, I actually, I want to pay for 1 month's rent. So what I do, I actually give Miracles Do Happen. I give them 1 month's rent, and then a family will call. They don't have the money, and that's where I'll come in and say, hey, can you do this month? And then I'll pay for the 1 month's rent. And
it's kind of like almost a scholarship type of a thing.
Yes, that's exactly like a scholarship. I don't have a nonprofit or anything, and it's not, I'm not worried about the tax deductible for me or anything like that. It's my personal money. It's what I want to do with it.
Yeah.
And I take a percentage out of Boobalicious and I put that aside, and and that's where we go. And I haven't helped anyone yet, but in the process, I already have given Millie money, and when she gets that phone call and she feels Millie knows if they can't afford it and they need a bed. And that's when Millie will take that money and like you said, it'll be a scholarship for them.
That's great. I'm feeling like I need to get Mary on the show and talk to her. She
Yeah,
sounds like she sounds amazing.
she's a beautiful person, and
Yeah.
and she's so humble. She always says, Joni, you do so much of this, that, but it's her. Millie has done so much, and what she does for these women in recovery is she's just so humble about it, and
Wow.
I just love her for what she does, and she's part of a main reason why my daughter is still here, because she helped my daughter.
That's that's incredible. And so isn't that just the most amazing feeling though, to be able to be an entrepreneur, to have a level of success, and be able to dictate where your money goes?
Absolutely. And that's and I'm so passionate about it, as you know, and that's where I want my money to go. I want to help others. And and that's my goal, is to bring the Boobalicious brand out there with and of course I do have other products coming out for, and Boobalicious, is going to help families, and that's my goal. That's my big dream, is to help as many as I can.
So I want you to talk about some of your other products just because I want to know. But
Okay.
have, I have kind of looked over like your Etsy site and website and whatnot. And what I just love about it is the humor. You talked
Yes.
earlier, about needing to have humor. I love how you put the humor into the product. I mean, how could you not with a name like Boobalicious?
Absolutely. I put the humor into it because it's a fun product, and the best part for me, it's going to help other people as well, now and in the near future. But we started out with Boobalicious, and my aunt, who passed away a couple of years ago, she was a big, beautiful woman, and she said, Joni, I used the Boobalicious for my nooks and crannies. I said, oh my gosh, Aunt Jackie, I'm going to create the Chub Rub Stick for big, beautiful women like yourself. So we have the Chub Rub Stick for a big, beautiful woman for their nooks and crannies. And then just, it's not out yet, but hopefully in a couple weeks, I decided I did another product. It's called Lady Jane. The Lady Jane is for the lady parts. And and my products they're all natural, and they're for embarrassing areas we don't like to talk about. And that's why, I created these products for anyone that has these issues, and they're fun, and they're a percentage goes to a good cause. And then I did not forget about the men, and I made an all natural powder for men called Angry Balls. So there you go. And also I'm getting a shipment of hand sanitizer in. So we got the lickable lemons coming in, hand sanitizer, and we have crazy coconuts. And that's another thing with all my fun scents. We have, the lickable lemons, we have perky peppermints, we have crazy coconuts, hills of honey, utterly unscented. So I like to keep the humor in my life, in my products, because you know what? That gets us through the day, because we all struggle with life. And without humor, I just think it helps us have a better day, and, just gets you through the day.
And I think that's one of the things I love about the product. So it's not just that it works, but every time I look at it, I just get a little giggle,
Yeah, exactly.
And and the other thing is too, so you have an ad in the June edition of Lemonade Legend magazine, which just came out today.
Yes,
And
so excited.
I love the fact that you're an ad in there, because it's perfect for the magazine. A little lighthearted, but geared for the women. It's a value because it works. It's just everything about it really works in the magazine, and with a link to be able to go to Etsy and purchase
Thank
it.
you.
Um, so I appreciate that you're supporting the magazine as well. Another thing I was going to say about that. Anyway, it'll come to me. My head going and spinning right now, but hopefully whatever it was that was back there is going to come back. But anyway, so yeah, I do absolutely love it. And I hope you're going to put those T-shirts, those tanks on sale eventually too.
Yes, yes, yours will be coming this week, and I will
I
have
get the
the
sneak preview.
yes, I do have the T-shirts. They're tank shirts for the summer, and they will be going on the store. We're in the process of getting a Shopify store, ClickFunnels. So I'm in the process of doing that, and that's another thing about your entrepreneur journey. I did have a partner, and things didn't work out, and that's okay. But sometimes I didn't believe in me that I could do it by myself. And you have to believe in yourself more. And I doubted myself, and I can do this business by myself. And my partner, great guy. We just grew apart, and things happen. But
Yeah.
the journey is, it's a long journey, and you have to be patient, and because success will come if you're persistent and determined and
Right.
patient.
So I think that was a great point to bring up because some partnership work and they work very, very well. But I
Absolutely.
think too oftentimes we take that route because, as you say, we're reluctant to believe in ourselves that we can take on a role 100%, and we can do that job. And I think that that's a really important message, that you don't need to rely on somebody else to pull you along, that you need to have the faith in yourself to know you can do it. If you're passionate about it, you'll get it done.
You will. And then you need to invest in yourself, get coaches and get mentors. You and I talked, and hopefully, my goal is to open up my online boutique. And I met a beautiful woman, Heather Dye, who
I
is
know
also,
Heather.
yes. And I'll be working with her soon about the online boutique, because my next passion is to get my products out there and start an online boutique. And through this mentorship, you meet so many beautiful people like yourself and Heather Dye. And Heather Dye is one of them. And I'm really looking forward to her helping me get my online boutique started.
She is dynamic, and I
Yes.
know she will be a great, great resource for you.
Yes.
But I just love it how it's such a small world in a way,
It is.
and yeah.
We all help each other. We're all here to support each other, and it's a beautiful thing. And I know when you're in an entrepreneur, your family, oh, you're not gonna, what are you doing this for? And they kind of are, they're not as positive about your entrepreneur journey as the other entrepreneurs, because we know what it's about, and that's why we're here to support each other.
Yeah, it is a beautiful thing. And I'm just so pleased that the journey seems to be now, people are much more likely to be supportive as opposed to 5 years ago or 10 years ago, where there was more of a competitive atmosphere. And now I feel like, fellow entrepreneurs are so much more willing to just jump in and be supportive. Like, there's enough business out there. There's enough to go around, and why don't we all lift each other up?
Yeah,
I don't want to leave somebody in the dust.
I'm so glad you said that, because to be successful, you need to help others be successful. Because, I used to reach out to certain people, and, you're right. They don't want to help you because it's competitive, this, that. And I always say, when I am successful, I will help anyone that reaches out to me. And people have reached out to me, and I have taken my time to sit on a Zoom call with them and help them get started a business. Because I promised myself, if anyone reaches out to me, I will help them, because I want them to be successful as well as me. And you're right. I'm seeing more of that. We're all helping each other out instead of being competitive, that's another beautiful thing of the entrepreneur.
Yeah, and you and I got connected through a virtual summit, which I think is such a great thing. And again, because of the COVID-19, everybody's gone virtual. But I think what that has done is it's allowed so many more people, we'll say women in particular right now, because so many of our virtuals have embraced the female journey.
Mm-hmm.
It allows so many more people to connect up, because we're not having to travel to the place. We're not putting out a lot of money to attend the virtual, so they just fill up. We have the time to do it, and it's such an opportunity to lift each other up, to make the connection, so that we know more people and we can reach out to them, they can reach out to us. And I'm just so excited right now about those opportunities, keeping in mind this is a tough time, and I get that. But
Yes.
I'm the lemonade lady. I get to be excited about bad things too. I
Absolutely.
figure out how to make the best of them, and that has been one of the the positive outcomes. I think it's learning
Yes,
how to do things more efficiently.
absolutely. It's more intimate and you get to know everyone, and it's a great connection, just like you and I connected through the virtual the internet and network, and it's great because you meet so many wonderful people.
And you really do, and you're certainly one of them. And I have to tell you this because I don't think I've shared this, that it was the virtual Assets Are Sexy that we were both on,
Yeah.
put on by the brilliant and amazing Sharon Lecter. Uh, you were sending me emails or messages, right? I mean, we hadn't even been a few hours into it, and you're like, I have to meet you.
Yes, I did.
And I'm like, oh, this is great.
I actually, while I was watching you speak, I reached out to you right away as you were speaking. I was an onlooker. And you were actually the speaker on that. So when I heard you speak and the lemonades, and I just said I have to reach out. And when opportunity presents itself, that's when you need to go for it. Don't let it slip. Don't let it slip away.
Yeah, exactly. And anyways, I was thrilled. Thank you,
Yeah,
because
well,
that is
thrilled to
such
know
an
you.
affirmation of, oh, something's resonating. At least I
Yeah,
touched one person, and that's all. That's what matters, One person, that's great.
but you
So,
have touched a lot, though. You have touched a lot, not just one.
thank you, thank you. And I know we will be doing continued business because I love
Absolutely.
what you do. Your product, your story, everything is really fantastic. So before we wrap this up, is there anything else that you would like to say, and specifically want to make sure we get any contact information out there?
Okay, yeah. Well, right now, I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram at Boobalicious Products. I'm on Etsy under the Boobalicious shop. And I just want to thank you for this opportunity. I'm so blessed to know you, and I'm blessed to have this opportunity. I'm grateful for it. And I just want to thank you for everything.
Yeah, you are so welcome, and I really appreciate you being on the show, and I feel blessed as well to have you in my inner circle. Um, so thanks. I much appreciate it, and thank you for my product.
Yes, you're so welcome.
This is an absolute personal endorsement here, because this stuff, it works. It's great. And it's the little things in life that just make you happy.
It's the little things, and I'll tell you a secret. Every time I hear my Etsy shop go off, it's like a little register, cha-ching, and my mother's in heaven. And every time I kid you not, every time I hear that cha-ching, I always look up and say, thank you, Mom, because I know she's looking over me. So I thank her for every sale I get that I hear. So.
Well, yes, especially because it's all about who you're helping as well.
Exactly.
And so I commend you for supporting that, because sometimes it's not easy to just hand over your money that could go into your bank account. And I think you're an amazing person for doing that.
Well, I appreciate it. I'm just so thankful. Like you said, I'm blessed to have my children, and I'm so blessed that I can give back.
Yeah. Well, and I do believe in the give and you will get. So I think that blessings will be coming back enormously for you. But meanwhile, we got to close this up. So
okay. It's been wonderful.
It has been fun, and we'll have to do a follow-up down the road, especially when you've got your other products. And I'm gonna try out Lady Jane, because I got to tell you, I need it.
Okay.
When you say that you make the product for the things we don't like to talk about.
Yes.
But if I don't take care of those things, I don't have to talk about it, because everybody knows it. Because they look at the sweat.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you make it so we don't have to talk about it.
Exactly. It will be launching soon, Lady Jane. So I will let you know.
I hope you'll have a lemon.
I don't know. Lady Jane has flowers.
Okay, flowers. Flowers is good. I'll go with flowers. That's good. All right. Well, this concludes another episode of the Lemonade Legend podcast. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you have enjoyed this show. And make sure you go to Etsy and search for the Boobalicious brand and get going on that breast deodorant. And Lady Jane, whenever that comes out. Yes. And for the guys, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. This has been so much fun. Thank you so much, Joani. Thanks to all of you for listening in, and always appreciated. Bye-bye.